All right, so we're diving into Paris today. Our listener sent in an article called Top 10 Places to Visit in Paris,
Mm-hmm.
but it's from Love to Visit France.
Yeah.
And looking closer, it's kind of funny. They actually squeezed 12 spots onto this top 10 list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Makes me wonder if Parisians just can't resist adding a little extra flair to everything.
Haha. I think that playful spirit, that definitely sets the tone for exploring Paris.
For sure. So even with that little number quirk,
Yeah.
this list really captures that mix of like grandeur and hidden corners
It does.
that Paris is known for.
Absolutely. A mix of the world famous and then those quieter spots.
Right.
Where you kind of get a feel for the real pulse of the city.
Exactly. Okay, so no surprise, the list starts with the Eiffel Tower.
Of course.
But what's beyond that iconic status? What should people really know?
Well, I think it's worth thinking about the audacity of it, Imagine being a Parisian back in 1889.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you see this iron lattice tower rising over 1,000 feet high. It's got to be jarring.
It was. People were outraged. They called it an eyesore, a monstrosity, all of that.
Yeah.
But Gustave Eiffel, he had this vision, this engineering genius.
Yeah.
And it ultimately prevailed. I mean, it turned controversy into a symbol of Paris itself.
Huh. So it's a good reminder that even the most beloved landmarks have their own story, their own journey to becoming iconic.
Exactly.
Okay, so next up, the Louvre.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, everyone wants that Mona Lisa selfie, but for someone with limited time,
Right.
what's the real draw?
I think walking into the Louvre, it's not just about checking off famous artworks.
Okay.
It's about experiencing the sheer magnitude of human creativity over time.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, 35,000 pieces on display.
Cool.
You could spend weeks in there.
I believe it.
So I'd suggest, maybe focus on a specific wing, maybe Egyptian antiquities or the Venus de Milo in the Greek sculpture section,
Yeah.
because those pieces, they have this incredible power, even amidst the crowds. Right, so it's about that strategic exploration, finding those pockets of wonder that speak to you.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of powerful sites, Notre Dame Cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible that even after the 2019 fire, it's still a must-see.
Yeah, that's the essence of resilience, over 800 years of history
Wow.
etched into those stones, the stained glass. They're painstakingly restoring it now.
Oh, wow.
The gargoyles looking down over the centuries.
Yeah.
It's really a testament to human faith and artistry enduring.
And it's so close to Sacré-Cœur Basilica, right?
It is. Yeah, you can easily stroll over there.
Which is, of course, perched atop Montmartre.
Yes.
So it seems like the journey up to that basilica is just as important
It is.
as the destination itself.
Exactly. You're winding through those cobblestone streets.
Yeah.
Past studios where artists like Picasso, Utrillo, they found their inspiration. That climb through Montmartre with all the charming shops and cafes, it's like stepping back in time, and then that panoramic view from the basilica, it's well-deserved and truly breathtaking.
Oh, I bet.
It is.
Okay, so we've got iconic structures,
Yes.
a history lesson, an art-filled climb. What's next?
How about a little taste of royal extravagance? The Palace of Versailles.
Versailles. I mean, the name alone evokes images of opulence.
Right.
I've heard so much about the Hall of Mirrors, but is there anything else we shouldn't miss?
Well, the Hall of Mirrors is dazzling, but the gardens designed by André Le Nôtre, those are on another level.
I can imagine.
Picture perfectly manicured lawns that stretch as far as you can see.
Wow.
Intricate fountains, sculptures nestled among the foliage.
That sounds amazing.
It's a testament to the power and grandeur that the French monarchy, once projected.
Right.
And it really transports you back to a different era.
I love that. Okay, so from the heights of Montmartre to the grandeur of Versailles,
Yeah.
Paris is really keeping us on our toes.
Oh, it does. It does.
But for art lovers, are there any hidden gems on this list?
Definitely. We can't forget the Musée d'Orsay.
Oh, yeah.
Just picturing it is fascinating. A former railway station turned into this temple of art.
Okay, a railway station turned art museum. That's pretty cool.
It is.
What kind of art are we talking about here?
Well, inside, you'll find one of the world's best collections of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings.
Oh, wow.
Think Monet, Degas, Renoir,
Amazing.
all capturing those fleeting moments of light and movement in everyday life.
Yeah.
And standing on those former train platforms, now surrounded by these masterpieces, it's really a special experience.
Wow. So you really see how Paris breathes new life into these old spaces.
It does.
Okay, that's the theme I love, finding new purpose and beauty in the unexpected.
Yeah.
Speaking of, this list pairs the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe.
Right.
But those are more than just a shopping street and a monument, right?
Oh, they definitely tell a story.
Okay.
Imagine you're standing at the Arc de Triomphe. Yeah.
Looking down the Champs-Élysées.
I'm picturing it.
You're literally looking through a corridor of history. Because your line of sight, it leads to the Place de la Concorde, a square with a tumultuous past, where Louis VI and Marie Antoinette were executed.
Oh, wow.
It's a reminder that Paris, it's seen revolutions, triumphs, tragedies.
Right, it's all woven into its fabric.
It is.
So it's about understanding that beneath those postcard images,
absolutely,
there's a deeper, richer story waiting to be explored.
Exactly.
I love that perspective. Now, we got to hop over to Montmartre again, specifically Place du Théâtre.
Ah, yes.
It sounds like a perfect place to soak in that artistic atmosphere.
It is, but it's an interesting case, It was once a haven for these struggling artists, where creativity flourished, but today it's a bustling tourist spot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But that artistic spirit, it hasn't completely vanished,
Oh, you can still see artists right there in the square, capturing the essence of the place, selling their work.
I bet.
So it's like this living reminder of Montmartre's bohemian past.
Yeah.
Even amidst the souvenir shops and cafes.
It's like a living, breathing piece of art history, right?
It is. Evolving, but holding on to its core identity.
Now, how about a change of pace?
How about a cruise down the Seine?
Yes. The Seine River cruise?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be more than just a boat ride, though.
Oh, it is.
What makes it so special?
Well, imagine you're gliding past those iconic landmarks.
Yeah.
But from a completely different perspective.
Right.
The Eiffel Tower towering above, Notre Dame's silhouette against the sky, the Louvre's facade reflecting on the water, and the city lights. They're just shimmering and dancing.
It's got to be magical at night.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's just a certain romance to seeing Paris all lit up.
Yeah, that's officially at the top of my must-do list.
Good.
Now, after all that sightseeing,
yeah,
I bet our listener could use a little tranquility.
I think so. Well, our final stop takes us to the Luxembourg Gardens.
Okay.
It's like this oasis of peace.
Luxembourg Gardens, it sounds idyllic.
It is.
What's the story there? What makes them so special?
Well, these gardens were created for Marie de Medici centuries ago.
Wow.
And they still offer this amazing sense of escape from the city.
Yeah.
Imagine strolling through those landscapes, a mix of formal French gardens and the more relaxed English style. Fountains, sculptures. There's even a palace housing the French Senate.
Wow.
It all adds to the atmosphere.
So it's a place to relax, to contemplate, to maybe find some quiet amidst the excitement.
Exactly.
It's amazing how much we've covered. We haven't even touched on the food yet.
Ah, yes. Parisian cuisine.
I know. We can't talk about Paris without mentioning the food.
We can't. It's essential.
Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. I mean, from buttery croissants to those delicate macarons.
Yeah?
Parisian food, it's an art form.
It really is.
It's about savoring everything. The flavors, the aromas, the ambiance.
You're making me hungry just describing it.
Huh.
But there's so much to choose from.
I know, right?
Where do you even begin?
Well,
what's that truly essential Parisian food experience?
It's tough to pick just one.
I bet.
But honestly, there's something magical about finding a sidewalk cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Ordering a freshly baked croissant, a perfect cafe au lait, and just watching the city come to life.
Okay, that's definitely going on my list.
Good.
So we explored those 12 must-see spots. We've got a taste of the food.
We have.
But how does someone fit all this into a trip? Any advice on navigating Paris?
Well,
especially for first-timers.
I think one thing to remember is that Paris is a surprisingly walkable city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can wander from one arrondissement to another, and along the way, you'll discover these hidden courtyards, these charming boutiques.
I love that.
And don't be afraid to get a little lost.
Yeah.
It's often how you stumble upon those most memorable experiences.
I agree, embracing those unexpected detours. But still, there's so much to see. How can someone make the most of their time?
I think prioritizing is key.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what are your main interests?
Right.
Art, history, food, shopping, and then tailor your itinerary accordingly.
Makes sense.
And don't try to cram everything in.
Right, yeah.
It's better to really experience a few things than rush through a dozen.
I like that, quality over quantity.
Exactly, and take advantage of Paris's public transportation.
Yeah.
The metro can get you across the city in minutes.
That's good advice, practical.
It is.
But let's be honest, those touristy things, they have a certain allure.
They do.
Should we be avoiding those altogether?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a reason certain attractions are so popular, right?
True.
They offer these unique glimpses into the city's history and culture.
Right.
The key is to approach them with an open mind.
Yeah.
And a sense of curiosity.
Makes sense.
Even the most crowded spots can have these moments of wonder.
It's all about perspective. Finding those little gems even in the crowds.
It is.
You mentioned earlier Paris is a city of contrasts.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What makes it so unique in that sense?
Well, picture this. You have grand boulevards like the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
But then you also have those narrow, winding streets of Montmartre.
Right.
You have world-class museums filled with priceless art.
Amazing.
And then you have street artists making their own masterpieces on the sidewalks.
I love that.
High fashion and glamour, but also an underground music scene, that gritty bohemian spirit.
So many layers.
Yeah, it's like a city with 1,000 different personalities.
All coexisting.
Exactly.
What about the Parisians themselves?
Oh,
Are they really as aloof as the stereotype suggests?
well, like any big city, you'll find all types of people.
Right.
But I think that stereotype of Parisians being rude, it's largely unfair.
Really?
I've found them to be generally warm and welcoming,
That's it.
and they're proud of their city.
Yeah.
A little effort goes a long way, you know? Trying to speak some French, even just a few phrases, can really enhance those interactions.
Makes sense, showing that respect and willingness to engage.
Exactly.
But what about that language barrier, though?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really that difficult to get around if you don't speak French?
Honestly, in the main tourist areas, you can get by pretty easily with English.
Oh, okay.
But I always encourage travelers to learn at least a few basic phrases.
Yeah.
It shows respect, and it can lead to some wonderful, unexpected connections with locals.
I bet you might discover those hidden gems you wouldn't have found otherwise.
Exactly.
It's about going beyond that surface level, right?
It is.
Immersing yourself, even if it's a little outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and Paris is the perfect place for that, you know?
Why?
It's a city that invites you to explore, to discover, to fall in love.
Wow, that sounds like a city that really has it all.
It does.
So for someone planning their first trip to Paris,
Yeah.
what would be your one piece of advice?
Go with an open heart and an adventurous spirit.
I love that.
Embrace the unexpected, savor the moments, and just let yourself be swept away by the magic of Paris.
Okay.
Because it's a city that will stay with you long after you leave.
Beautifully said. That really captures what makes Paris so special. It's not just a destination, it's an experience.
It is. It's a feeling, a memory that lasts.
And you know, going through this list, it's like we took a mini vacation.
Uh-huh. I know, right?
Without leaving the studio.
Exactly.
This top 12 really highlights how much Paris has to offer.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little cheeky with the numbering.
Right. It just speaks to the city's appeal.
Definitely.
Paris draws people of all ages, interests, backgrounds. It's constantly evolving, but it keeps that essential character, that magic.
It's like a living tapestry woven with history, art, culture, and that certain je ne sais quoi that you can't quite put your finger on.
Exactly.
A city that invites you to explore, to discover, to make your own connection to its magic.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've successfully covered Paris in 10 or 12 stops.
We have.
Any final thoughts for our listener before they start packing their bags?
Remember, Paris is a city best experienced on foot.
Right.
Get lost in those charming streets, stumble upon those hidden courtyards, just soak up the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing. Pack comfortable shoes.
Good one.
You'll be doing a lot of walking.
That's great advice. And don't forget to indulge in all the delicious food Paris has to offer.
Absolutely. Bon voyage and bon appétit.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep. Wow, it really does feel like we took a whirlwind tour of Paris.
It does.
From those big iconic landmarks to those hidden gems, this deep dive has given us such a great picture of what awaits in Paris.
It has, and that's the beauty of exploring a place through someone else's eyes first, right?
Right.
It gets your curiosity going, and it helps you picture your own trip.
Exactly. It was like having this little treasure map.
Yeah.
Leading us to all the must-sees, the history, even the food.
I like that.
You know, really struck me.
What's that?
The emphasis on walking.
Yep.
It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about wandering those streets.
Absolutely.
Finding hidden courtyards, really soaking it all in.
You got it. Paris is a city that rewards those who take it slow.
I like that.
Savor the details.
Yeah.
It's in those quiet moments, those unexpected encounters where the real magic happens.
So true. Before we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for our listener heading to Paris?
Remember to experience Paris with all your senses,
I like that.
See the sights, hear the sounds, taste the flavors, smell the aromas, and feel the pulse of the city.
Beautifully put. It's about that full immersion.
It is.
Embracing every moment.
And don't forget your curiosity.
Of course.
And that sense of adventure.
Right, because Paris invites you to explore, discover, create your own story.
Exactly.
It sounds like Paris is ready to enchant and inspire.
It really is. I have a feeling our listeners are going to have a fantastic time.
Me too. Until next time, everyone, keep exploring and keep diving